Good morning, everybody. Jim Feist and Money Mike. Money Mike bounced back last week. You had a small winning week, and you're playing Yogi tonight. Yogi, in case the people out there don't know who Yogi is, Yogi Berra, he wore number 8, and this week, Money Mike, who's a good old Yankee fan and a Yogi fan, and all the players from back in the day, as am I. And he's got 8 winners for the NFL this week, and that was Yogi's number 8.
You're correct, Jim. Yogi was, Mickey was my man, but Yogi, I got 8 plays. Well, last week, I ended up 3-4-1. I got a tie with that Buffalo game. So I had 2 games last week that the last play or the last minute of the games went against me. I have Buffalo +2. Arizona throws a 43-yard pass to Hopkins in the end zone. Buffalo don't know how to defend that kind of situation. I don't know how a pro team can let that happen, but it happened. And then I laid 3.5 with Cleveland. I laid 3. Then I loved them so much, I laid 3.5. And we know Nick Chubb steps out of bounds at the 2-yard line with about 50 seconds to go in the game, leading by 3 points. Houston has no timeouts left. But I guess he figured, his coach told him once you get the first down, take a knee. And so he says he remembered it when he seen the goal line, so he stepped out of bounds. And it was a 6-figure difference for the bettors in Las Vegas and maybe all over the country, Jim, that big turn of events what Chubb did. But he's a team player, and we have to just go by that. And we have to move on to this week. So I'm still at 39-24. And a tie, which we don't worry about that. So I'm at about 62%. So it's been a good winning season so far. I hope we can turn it around because the last 2 weeks I've been down a little. But I love the card this week, so we'll see how my 8 plays do, Jim.
Well, you can't possibly lose when you're going with Yogi's number. I mean, 8's automatic. You might go 8-0 this week, dude.
Well, I've had that. I've gone 8-0 one time, and I remember going 0-8 on New Year's Day with college games. So, 8 could be the right number. 8 skate and donate. They say at the crap table here in Las Vegas.
I remember that saying from when I was a kid, and we used to play backroom stuff.
We'll see what happens. I'll start tonight. I'm diving in with Seattle now. They've lost 2 in a row. I laid 3 with Seattle tonight. I think it's a little short week for Arizona. There's not a lot of travel to come over there. The weather will be a little cooler, maybe a little misty up in the great Northwest because they get the best weather in the world. Rain, morning, afternoon, and night. So, but we'll see. I think Wilson, he's had 2 bad games now the last 2 weeks. He didn't look good in Buffalo, and he didn't look good in L.A. I know the center, like you said, they're on the 3rd-string center. Now, whether Kit Carson tonight plays as running back, I'm not sure. He's questionable, but Carlos Hyde will be there. Alex Collins, I believe, is a kid from Arkansas. He looked pretty good last week against the Rams, but they made some mistakes and only really lost by 6 points to a pretty strong defensive team in the Rams, on their home field. So this is a battle for first place. We got 3 teams in the NFC West at 6-3, Jim, so I'm going to go with Russ tonight and see if he proves that he is an MVP candidate.
Well, this is a big game. Like you said, Arizona's beaten them already, so if they beat them again, they're going to have every tiebreaker in the world going for them. Seattle, it's a must-win for them, but I'm going to tell you something. I'm a big Russell Wilson fan, but honestly, the Seattle Seahawks are not a great team. They got a great player. They got a very good offense. But their offensive line is banged up. Their center issue, that's troublesome. Seattle's been, Wilson's been, he's been hit a lot the last couple of weeks. He's been sacked a number of times. 7-8 turnovers recently. He had none through the first 5 games. It was amazing. But they're not a very good team, and they're not healthy. Yeah, they're home, but there's home field advantage is minimal this year. I see the number. I see 2.5s and 3s on it right now, and total 56.5, 57. I don't know. They're going to somehow. I think they got to find a way to protect Wilson in this game and not get him killed. And he's got to make better decisions. He's making bad decisions, and I think that comes from trying to do too much and do too much on his own, by himself because of the deficiencies. Their defense is giving up more yardage, more points than any in the history of the NFL. So this is a bit of a mess. Arizona's a healthier team. They got a little bit more momentum. They lost to Miami at home. They should not have beaten Seattle the first time. They were down double digits late. And last week they should have lost to Buffalo. But they're all three good teams. But they hung in with all three of them. This is a big game because if the Rams are an underdog on the road Monday night, and if they should lose, and whoever wins this game is going to have a real good chance to win this division, and that makes this a very critical game for both of these clubs, especially Seattle because they're at home.
Well, they're 4-0 at home, Jim, and the problem started when Carson got hurt. I believe he might have got hurt in that Arizona game where he said they blew that lead right. They should have never lost that game. So Arizona's been a little lucky, but then we've been a little lucky this year with some of our plays, which, helps. Sometimes, like last week, they didn't go our way or my way anyway, and that's okay. But I think they'll show up tonight and play. I think Wagner will play good. I think KJ Wright will be back. They said I don't believe he played last week against the Rams. So I think that defense, even without fans, they get pretty fired up at home. So I'm looking for a big effort tonight. You're right, because we both figure the Rams are going to lose Monday night. That's a big play. We like Tampa Bay. So the winner takes the one-game lead. And after these games, there'll only be 6 left, and they still got to play each other. The Rams still have a couple games with Arizona. This will be the end of Seattle, Arizona. So the Rams and Arizona will battle for that spot. So if things go the way I think, it'll be Seattle will have a game lead, and then the Rams and Arizona will have to battle out. And they'll go 6-4, which I hope is the case. That'll mean we're having a good week, Jim. So let's see what happens, and we'll move on to Sunday if you're ready.
I'm ready. We got the first game on the card is the Eagles at the Browns. The Browns have played a couple games in a row at home, but both those games they won them, but both in bad weather, so they have not been putting up much offensively, but the weather has been absolutely awful. It doesn't look to be awful this week.
Well, they scored 16 points in these last 2 games against the Raiders and Houston. 16 points. That's, to me, I know the weather was a problem in the Raider game. It wasn't so much Sunday. It was pretty windy, though. That didn't help. But I'm going to play the Eagles plus 3.5, Jim. I know they did not look good last Sunday. I had the Giants in that game, but I believe they got to come out of the doldrums the way they're playing the Eagles. They're better than this. I mean, they're 3-5, and they're in first place in that division because it's so bad. I just think Carson Wentz will show up. He's got his weapons back. Last week, Sanders came back, Jeffries came back, but he had a hard time getting in contact with some of these players, and they really, I don't know, they didn't look so good against the Giants. I know Doug Peterson, I watched something of him earlier this week in Philadelphia. He's very pissed off about the way things have been going. So I'm thinking he's going to put a bug under their ass, and they're going to go out and really show something this week. Because if the Browns, 6 points one week, 10 another week, if that's what's going to go, I mean, they got the run game. Thank goodness for that last week, or who knows what the score would have been, because Baker's not going to win games for you, not consistently anyway. So I think 3.5, especially with the hook. I'm gonna fade the Eagles this week, Jim.
Well, I'm not an Eagles fan, even though I grew up there, and I'm really down on their head coach. I think he's really been making a lot of bonehead decisions. Really not happy with the head coach at all, and Wentz is. I don't know. Wentz has never proven to me that I like the guy, and I think he's very talented, but he just hasn't delivered. Now, granted, they are a little healthier, so I'll give you that. I'm not going to play this game at all. I'm not going to have a total on it. I'm not going to have a side on it. I just don't like the head coach for the Eagles, and the Browns, I don't really like their quarterback, and they're a running team, and they're going to have to be able to run the ball, control the ball on the ground. And Baker, he still hasn't proven to me that he really belongs as a quarterback starting quarterback in the NFL. So I'm staying away from it.
I understand, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, I just think the Eagles, this is a good spot for them to show up. I mean, it's an important game. The Browns are trying to make a playoff run, but like you said, you can't count on Baker now. Will Hunt and Chubb each get 100 yards this week against the Eagles? I don't see that happening. Houston is a terrible run defense, so they had a party last week. They should have scored way more than 10 points. Even at the end with Chubb not scoring, they should have been able to score some more points than they did. But that's football. But we'll move on to the next two games. I really don't have any opinion. We have the Falcons at the Saints without Drew Brees. So we get Jameis Winston, the 30-30 man, and 30-30 in baseball is good, home runs and steals, but not in football when you're throwing touchdowns and interceptions, Jim. But I think Sean Payton will have them ready for this game. You know, I'm always against the Falcons because I have that wager on their under win total, and right now they're 3-6, and they still have the last 7 games. They're not going to be easy games. They haven't gotten to Tampa Bay yet, or the Chiefs, or the Raiders, or the Chargers. They haven't played any of those. They're on the schedule yet. So, but I think the Saints, I know it's a lower number because no Breeze, but I look for the Saints between Winston and Hill. They can use Kamar, and Thomas is back now. I know the Falcons can score, but their defense is not good. So I think the Saints should be able to handle this. Whether they cover 4.5 or 5, wherever it is another story there. But I think it's a pass for me, Jim.
Well, I'm a little up in the air on it because you don't know what the game plan is going to be for the Saints. I will say this, since Raheem Morris took over for the Falcons, they should be undefeated. If their running back would have not scored against Detroit, they'd have won that game. So they've played very well since they got the new coach. And Matty Ice is a dangerous guy, and they have played well in this stadium in the past. So it's a little bit of a complicated situation without Breeze there. I'd rather Breeze there, and you'd be getting 7.5. With Winston, I mean, he can stretch the field. Breeze maybe can't with that arm, but Winston can stretch the field, and they got Taysom Hill. I mean, that's a very dangerous combination, and they could have them in the lineup at the same time because Hill can go out to not wide receiver, but tight end as well. He plays every damn position. He's a hell of an athlete. But you don't know what you're going to get from Jameis. And, I mean, if he starts throwing the ball around and acted like he did with Tampa, you can get a lot of points both ways. So it would be, but the money has come in on the under. And so it's a confusing issue. I'm going to pass the game. The next game, the Lions and Panthers, there's no line on this game right now. The Bridgewater issue, the COVID issues, there's no number. There's not a bookmaker out there that has a number up on this game right now, so we really don't need to talk about it unless you want to.
No, not really. Without McCaffrey, I couldn't even think of playing the Panthers. And if Bridgewater is not healthy, then you lean with the Lions. But I think Matt Stafford has a finger problem. One of his fingers, I don't know if it's broke or what. He has a problem. So, we could pass on that game.
Patriots at the Texans is interesting. New England, this is Belichick. I mean, he's still there. And I know they beat the Ravens the other night in bad weather, which is unbelievable bad weather. The Texans are terrible. They changed coaches. They don't have much of a defense. You can run the ball on them, and Patriots can do that. If Cam isn't turning it over, they're very dangerous. And over the years, Belichick's teams can start out slow, but then they get better and better as the season goes on. And they are good coaches there, Belichick and his assistants. It's a dangerous spot. If I had to, I may, especially if the number comes down. I'm seeing 1.5s now. It was 2.5 all week. And I'm now seeing 2 at Jazz, 1.5 somewhere else. If you start putting that number up there, I might end up on the Patriots. I certainly would not be on the Texans. I don't trust them. Their defense is terrible, and I think that whole organization's a mess. J.J. Watt wants out of there, and and they should have made a coaching change years ago. O'Brien was an absolute mess down there. So I'm looking at the Patriots, but I've not played it.
Yeah, I played the Patriots, Jim, -2. I think they'll be able to run the ball on the Texans. The Browns ran for over 200 yards. And, you got Romeo Cornell there, and he's a disciple of Bill Belichick, and Bill does well against his disciples, except the coach down in Miami. I think he's going to give him a run for his money from now on because they're playing good, the Dolphins. But, yeah, I laid 2 with the Patriots. Cam should be, as long as he plays, pretty steady. But they found a good running back last week in Harris. He did well, and, the defense showed up. Watson, he didn't look really good against Cleveland. I know it was windy and all, but he really didn't have a good day. They had 2 drives. One was a touchdown, and one they got stopped on a 4th down on around the 2-yard line. So other than that, they showed no offense. And like I said, they gave up over 200 yards rushing and only 10 points. That's why I don't know how I lost that Cleveland game. They should have had a lot more than 10 points in that game. But, yeah, let's go with the Patriots -2, Jim, and move on to the undefeated Steelers, I guess.
Well, undefeated Steelers are 10.5-point favorite, 10-point favorite on the road at Jacksonville. I do not lay double figures in the pros personally. I usually automatically take the dog, and it works out pretty well over a period of time. The Jaguars might have found themselves a quarterback. We have to wait and see. I mean, they don't have Minshew right now, but they have Luton, and this guy's got a big arm. He didn't look all that bad last week. I mean, I know he doesn't have much practice time. He doesn't have much, NFL time under his belt. But he might have some potential. I don't see the Steelers getting really up for this game. They have a Thanksgiving game coming up, and that's against the Ravens. And now, if you're going to focus on something, I think you might want to focus on that.
I hear you, Jim, and this game is not a play for me, but I would lean in Jacksonville's way because this kid did look good against Green Bay. I mean, they're not the best defense, but he did play well. And you're talking over 10, so two possession game. If it's a game you have to play, I would lean with the Jaguars, even though I think the Steelers will get the win. But they're going to be, looking forward to ahead to next Thursday night at home against the Ravens. It's a big game. I've seen an early line of Pittsburgh -2.5, but we'll have to see how that goes after these games are played Sunday. But, it's a pass for me. But, the Jaguars are interesting maybe a little bit. I have to think about it. So we'll move on to the Packers-Colts, where we both have an opinion, but not the same.
Yeah, you're right about that. I'll probably have a little money on the Jags, just because that's what I normally do now, depending on the more I think about it, the more I like it. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. The Pats and the Colts, we know Aaron Rodgers, big name. He's great talent, awesome talent. But the Colts are a good team, and they have a very solid defense. They run the ball well. They play good defense. I think their coaching is reasonably good. I don't know. Basically, what you're doing here with this game is you're almost favoring Packers, and I don't see them being. I know it's right now. It's 1.5-point dog. Colts are favored. I don't see it. I think there's a little bit more respect to the Colts in this spot. I know we're not giving much home field this year because of no fans, but I like the Colts. I know you're on the other side of it.
Yeah, I took the Packers +2. I figured they're indoors. Lazar's supposed to come back. That helps him, gives him another weapon in case Adams is a no-go, but I'm pretty sure that he'll play come Sunday. And Scatling looked good last week, and I believe they can run the ball. I think Jones can run the ball indoors on the AstroTurf there. I know what you're saying with the Colts. Their defense is good. They haven't played since the Thursday before, so they've had a little rest. I'm just not a big Rivers fan, and I don't like the coaches as much as you do, especially the Frank Reich. I think the guy who misses them the most is Carson Wentz, really, since he left. I think that's a little bit of the problem with Wentz. But I've seen them both play now enough games. We're up to week 11, so I'll take Rogers as a dog. I just, not that they need this game as bad as the Colts do, because the Colts need it more, even though they beat Tennessee and they're both with the same record now. But I believe the Packers, they'll show up. I mean, Rogers as a dog, to me, it's worth a play. 2 points isn't a big deal, but it tells me the home team isn't that strong. But then, like we said, with no fans, they're not a three. You don't give them 3 points anymore to home team. Maybe you give them 1.5 or 2. So this fits into that kind of thinking of the no fans. But we'll see what happens. It should be it's a late game, the 1:25 game out here on the West Coast. So it'll be an interesting game to watch. So we'll move on to the Bengals and the Washington football team. This should be an exciting game, Jim.
Well, I don't know. Most of the books don't have a number up on this game right now. There's only one place I see that's a major book. It has Washington 2. But other places do not have it up for whatever reason. I know there's COVID issues everywhere. There's injury issues everywhere. Smith had a big game last week for Washington. He threw the ball all over the place, was very successful. To me, Washington's a better football team. They got a good, strong offensive or defensive line. They're going to put a lot of pressure on Burrow. I think that's the issue. To me, I like Washington. I'm not going to play it. These are, two bad clubs, 2-6 and 2-7. I'm not going to get too excited about it. I'm going to pass the game.
Yeah, it's a pass for me, Jim. But you're right. Washington has a better coach with Rivera, better defense. I like Joe Burrow. He's shown good signs, and I think he'll be good in the NFL. But yeah, it's no play for me. But the next game I'll be making a play when we got the Titans going to the Ravens, which should be a very interesting game.
Yeah, they're both 6-3. It's an important game for both of them. So it's 6-point favorite. Ravens are 6. That to me seems like a little bit too much. I think the number's too high. It was 6.5, and it's come down to 6. So we may end up seeing less than 6 in this game.
Well, I bought it at 6.5 early in the week. I took the Titans plus 6.5. That's a number I always like to take when a home team's given under a touchdown. Another one of my system plays that I like. And last year in the playoffs, they went in there and the Titans destroyed them. Really, I think it was 29-12 or 29-17, maybe. Henry ran all over them. The weather wasn't that good that night. That was back in January. But the Titans have had a few extra days to rest. And I think you can run on the Ravens. That defense, to me, isn't as good as it's been. Now they've lost their one of their offensive linemen a couple weeks ago, and Campbell on defense didn't play, and he's out again this week. So the Titans, I think, have their number a little bit, and I think, like you said, I think it's too high. I think this is a field goal game, one way or the other, but no big touchdown or more game. I don't see it. I see the Titans right in here with a chance to win this game, Jim.
I agree. I don't think the game should be any more than 4, and even 4 it would be tempting to look at the dog. 6, I think, is ridiculous. I think it's a ridiculous number, and you got a bargain at 6.5, so that's great. The next game, I have no opinion on this. Dallas at Minnesota. Obviously Dallas is a mess this year. 2-7. Minnesota's 3-5, but they're on a roll and they're playing very well. And that's the thing, momentum, and they got everything going for them. Laying 7 with Minnesota would be the only way I'd go. I would not be playing Dallas here, but because Dallas just got too many holes. But I haven't done anything with it.
No, I haven't either, Jim. I passed, but I agree with you. I'd lay to 7 or don't play it at all. The Vikings are on the come now. They're playing with some momentum. They look good Monday night. I know the Bears have no offense, but the defense came alive, and Cousins made a few plays. And it's the Vikings are nothing for me. The Cowboys, I don't even if Andy the Red Rifle Dalton comes back Sunday to play. So it's a pass for me. Like I said, Vikings are nothing. Now, the next game I have a little interest. We got the Chiefs coming here to Las Vegas to play the Raiders, and the Raiders beat them earlier this year. It's their only loss. And, you got Andy Reid off a bye, and he's the best off a bye in professional sports, especially the NFL. And I laid 6.5 here with the Chiefs. I think they're, a little bit revenge factor. And, it's a big game for the Raiders. They're like 6-3 with three or four other teams. They're all battling for that last playoff spot, Jim. But, Andy Reid, like I said, off a bye. Mahomes, they didn't have such a good game in Arrowhead about a month ago. So you got to look for them to come out and play strong, I believe. And under a touchdown, the Raiders have 6-7 guys on defense that are dealing with the virus. So come Sunday, whether they play or not, they didn't practice all week. And I think if you look at the teams that have been affected, like the Browns even, we didn't mention, their kicker's out, and another 2 or 3 other guys are out. They're not even playing Sunday. So if you look at these teams that have been affected by the virus, when it comes Sunday or game day, whether it's Sunday, Thursday, or Monday night, they haven't done well because they're not getting to practice, and which definitely hurts. And they're a little weak. Their immune system, they're a little bit down. So it's affecting these teams, and you got to look at it if you're making sizable bets like me and you do. So I'd say the Chiefs is a very good play here.
Well, I could pick the Chiefs to win it. I think, to me, first of all, right now at this moment, there's absolutely no line on this game anywhere. It was 6.5 or 7 before, but it's not around anymore, and that's because of the COVID issues. So what is going to happen between now and Sunday? I have no idea what number will come up, if it comes up, who's going to be in the lineup, who's not going to be in the lineup. To me, it's a division game. It's a game where the Raiders they're playing well. They run the ball well. They're playing physical. They're kind of a blue collar team, and Gruden's done a pretty good job with them. I personally would not be laying 7 on the road with the Chiefs, even if both sides were healthy. But I would take the Chiefs in the teaser, and I would do that. And I would take a teaser on the Chiefs to win the game. Or you could look at the Raiders and make them 13, boost it up to that number. So you could look at it both ways. I think either way makes sense, and combine it with another team somewhere else. But as a straight bet, I'm not going to play it, especially since there's no line, and I don't know who's going to play. So that's a pass for me. The next game, the Dolphins at Denver. Denver's got some issues. They have a quarterback injury. He's not playing very well, so it might be a plus by losing him. He's been absolutely terrible. And Miami, of course, is playing absolutely lights out. Well coached. They're playing good on defense. Their offensive line's strong. The quarterback's not turning it over. They were playing good with Fitzmagic, and now they're playing good with Tua. It's this coaching staff for Miami is doing a hell of a job.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jim. I'm on the Dolphins -3. It's a tough spot. I know it's maybe my weakest of the 8 plays I'm going to make because of on the road. It's only Tua's 3rd game, but Locke may not play, and if he doesn't, then you get Rippon, the kid that played at Boise State. But Miami's defense is very good. Special teams, very good. Well, the coach came from Bill Belichick, and the Patriots are always a special teams. That's one of their specialties. So I think they should be able to beat this team up there, whether it's Locke or Rippon. They're running the ball. Tua's making better decisions every week, and, that's how it's going to go. It's going to be a growing and learning experience. The weather's going to be 40 and sunny, so they have players on this Miami team. They play in cold weather. They go to New England and Buffalo and the Jets every year, so it's not like they haven't seen 40-degree temperatures. So I just don't like the way the Broncos are playing, especially Locke. He hasn't. I think he's regressing this year, and I think that could be a problem here, and the Dolphins could take advantage of it. I wouldn't lay more than 3, but I laid 3, so we'll see what happens, Jim.
Okay, the next one is, I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, the Jets against the Chargers. The The Jets are a mess. The Chargers are a mess. Both coaches, in my opinion, both coaches should be let go. I don't think either coach should be coaching in the NFL at the head coach position.
I agree with you. Yeah, I'll pass on this game. Both coaches, they need to find a new career somewhere. I don't. lot of mistakes here. Gaze, he didn't do anything in Miami. I don't know why the Jets picked him up. Lynn, well, this is his first major coaching job. Somehow they find ways to lose games when they're ahead 2 touchdowns. I mean, that's hard to do in the NFL, but they seem to be able to do it. So, but we'll move on to Monday night. This is the big play of the week for me. Tampa Bay -3. I'm seeing a lot of 4s now around. The Rams lost one of their best offensive linemen, Andrew Whitworth, last week, so he's out. A couple other players are out. They're dealing with a little bit of the COVID, and this will be their 5th trip, Jim, to the East Coast this year. They're 2-2 right now. But Brady at home, everybody's healthy. I look for a big game. I mean, the Rams, they are playing well. The defense is playing strong. But Goff on the road, I think Sue and Pierre-Paul, I think they'll put some good pressure on them this week. And I think they should be able to cover 3. I mean, like I said, I'm seeing 4. I even seen 4.5 on some sites. But this is my big play of the year so far. It'll be Tampa Bay -3, Jim.
Well, 3s are not going to come back. You're going to see 4 or higher probably. I think the Whitworth injury has a lot to do with it because Tampa is an aggressive defensive club and they blitz a lot, maybe too much. Some people think too much, but when you have an offensive lineman left tackle out, Whitworth is a hell of a player, and I'm not sure he'll ever come back. I can't say yes or no on that, but he also is at the age where he could retire. But at this point, the Rams, Goff is a good quarterback, but he's good when he's not under pressure. If you put him back in the pocket, he's accurate. He sees the field well, but under pressure, he has not played well, and that's a tough spot. Losing an offensive lineman like that is a big loss, and that's one of the problems you got up with Seattle. And I was saying, but all teams are having injury problems. So Tampa Bay, the last time they played at home, they got absolutely destroyed by the Saints. They might want to bounce back and give their home fans, even though they're not in the stadium. Well, they have some fans in the stadium because they're in Florida.
Right.
And but I'm sure they're going to want to play the way that they did the last time.
No, I hear you. I look for a big bounce-back game. It's an important game now. With Breeze out, maybe the Saints, maybe they, I hope they win this week, but maybe they lose a game here or there, and Tampa Bay could get back in a tie with them or take that division over. So I think it's, Tampa's got to, they got to win some games. They got a little better chance now. Like I said, with Breeze going to miss probably 3 weeks, maybe more. I don't know. Nobody knows. So
what are you doing? What are you doing with teasers this week?
I didn't play a teaser this week, but I agree with you there. I would if I was playing one, I would use the Eagles, the Packers, the Titans, and the Chiefs. That would be my teaser. I tease the Eagles up to 10.5, the Packers to 9, Titans 13.5, and I take the Chiefs down to even or plus a half. I use a 7-pointer. I didn't use it this week because last week I had 3 out of 4. The Ravens cost me Sunday night. So sometimes when I lose one week I stay off. But usually, I usually play one, and I've had some good luck because you only got to hit every other one or so. When you play a 4-teamer, they're laying you 2-1 on your money. So it's a nice hit when you pick one up and you're betting $500 or $1,000. You make a few dollars. So, but that's where I would use. I would do Chiefs, Titans, Eagles, Packers. I like to move the dogs up and take a good favorite down, and I would take the Chiefs down, Jim. And I know you mentioned the Chiefs yourself. I know you're not a teaser guy, but that would definitely be in one if I was playing one this week. But I'm going to pass on that.
I do play teasers. I don't play as many as you do, but those 4 teams look viable to me. I mean, I'm not big on Philly, but I don't think Cleveland's going to score a lot. So anytime you're taking those kind of numbers versus a team that isn't going to score a lot, I think that's a positive. Yeah, I think maybe taking those 4 teams that you mentioned might be a winner.
Yeah, I think so. So, well, maybe you might talk me into having to play it, Jim. I don't know yet. I got so much going with 8 games. Me and Yogi, we're going to go out and party, baby. After Monday night Tampa Bay big win, it'll be a party time in Las Vegas. Even though it's a little quiet, we can sure find fun here. I know that.
You'll find some things, but most of the things out here are closed, as they are in most of the country. Anyway, stay safe, Mike. Thank you very much, and say hello to Albert.
All right, Jim. Take care, buddy. Talk next week. We'll probably do it Wednesday, being we got Turkey Day Thursday.
I think we'll have to, yes. Okay, buddy. Thanks.
All right, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Everybody out there, thank you. If you don't tune in next week, happy Thanksgiving. Stay safe. Please, no COVID. We want all our fans to stay healthy and move on to 2021, and hopefully that will be a better year. But anyway, stay safe. Pick some winners. We gave you some winners. Pick your own if you want. And let's cash. Take care.